Hi Home Inspire, I'm Tim. Welcome to Larchwood Barn in Staffordshire. Let me show you around. So we never intended to do a project like this, and it was actually during COVID when we were sat in our new build house, a little bit bored, and we decided that we wanted to do a project. So we started looking, and to show that we were serious, we decided to put our house on the market. So we got the estate agent round and he did the value of our house. And while he was there, he got his camera out and showed us some images, and he said, "Oh, I actually went to go and view this place today." I looked at it and I saw the barn and I said to him, "Do not put that on Rightmove, that's exactly what we're looking for." Came to have a look around, and a few months later we completed on the barn, which was amazing. When we bought it, it was actually one big building. You can see there's two big buildings there. And between ourselves and our neighbours, we actually divided the property into two separate dwellings, into two separate properties, and developed half each, but we used the same architect and the same builder. So you can probably tell they look a little bit like sisters, but they're not twins. So initially we had lots of interesting conversations with our architect around how we were actually going to develop the property. There were lots of different options. It was a steel frame barn, but there was obviously an awful lot of concrete on the bottom half. In the end, what we ended up doing was crushing over 1,000 tons of concrete, so taking all of those sort of lower level walls out and stripping all of the old cladding off completely. So all we were left with was the original portal frame, the metal portal frame of the barn. What we've then done is, with the architect, designed a timber frame SIPS construction that sits inside that metal frame. So we've almost built a house within a house. So the bit that we live in, the sort of thermally performing home, is sort of separate and sits inside that steel frame. And then on the outside, we've clad with metal and then timber on the bottom half, as you can see, to kind of give that two-tone effect, which was a little bit like what the barn was originally like, with the concrete at the bottom and then the metal cladding at the top. We tried to sort of maintain that slightly agricultural-esque look about it, but also trying to create a nice modern aesthetic as well. So one of the things that we were really keen to work on with our architect, Pete Elsegood, was the entrance to the building. Obviously, you can see from the external shots, it's a very tall building. It's actually 7 meters. But we've created this really nice sort of porch at the front. It's one of my favorite bits of the building. In the evening, we've got these sort of up and down lighters, and all of the timber sort of catches the light, and you get that nice sort of warm orange glow when you come home. It's really inviting. So now we've come inside to the main entrance. And again, this is one of the bits that we spoke a lot about with the architect. I think that Guy and I spent a lot of time on Instagram and Pinterest. Before we started this, we were brand new to building. We hadn't done anything like this before. And we were looking at the kind of the styles that we liked. And one of the things we were really keen on was having that sort of double height space within the building, but working out how to sort of have that without it kind of affecting upstairs and downstairs and how all that would work. It was a lot of long, sort of complicated conversations with the architect to make sure we were making the most of the space. So you can see when you come in here, we've got this nice oak staircase that goes upstairs, and what we opted for was to form a really nice big long galleried landing that basically goes all the way around the interior of the property, and that services all the bedrooms upstairs. And then downstairs, you can probably see behind me, it's a lot more open plan. We've gone for a bit of an H design, so you've got rooms down this side, rooms down that side, and a big lobby area in the middle with a utility at the back, and we'll show you that in a bit. So one of the things that we definitely wanted to have in the house was a dual aspect fireplace, which you can see behind me. And we ended up designing this side of the house pretty much around this. On the original design, what you can see that is now the dining room was actually going to be the living room and the other way around. But when we actually then got to the point where the internal walls were constructed and you could sit down in the individual spaces, what we realized is the dining room area, you always feel like you're kind of sat in a big building and you can always see out into that big lobby area. Whereas on this side, there's less windows, and we were able to kind of sneak the corner sofa into that corner there and create something that felt a little bit more like a snug. So in the evenings when you've got the fire lit, the TV on, and you're sort of curled up on the sofa. Yeah, it feels really nice and cozy. When we were designing the house, we thought a lot about the different seating areas and social spaces, and what we've actually got is a patio area on both sides of the barn. With the direction that the sun travels, it rises all the way over here and then makes its way all the way to the other side. So we get a nice sort of sunrise in the morning on the one side and a lovely sort of orange glow on a sunset in the evening on the other. So really nice light space. So obviously one of the things that's really important to think about when you build a house like this is furniture, and we've had to have some of the stuff specially made. Our friend Sam, who also did the patios outside, actually built this table for us. It's made out of some steelwork and some scaffold boards, but what we've actually done is had 2 tables made. So these actually come apart into 2 tables. So around this one we can seat 16 in this room, but we're pretty social, Guy and I. We like to party, and we can actually put the tables straight down the middle of the foyer area and seat 24 people for dinner. It also makes a good catwalk afterwards when you've had a few drinks. So one of the things that we splashed out on is this amazing fireplace that we got from Eben and York. It's dual aspect. The door sort of slides up in a guillotine style, so it just goes up into the wall and then goes back down again, and it kicks out loads of heat. So in the evening when you're sort of sat on the sofa and this is roaring away, the house is lovely and warm. It's absolutely amazing. We're really pleased that we did it. So this is the utility room, and in here we've got all the things that you would expect, such as washing machine, tumble dryer. We've also got a big American fridge, which is great for storing all of the extra booze and food when we have people over. We've also got an extra dishwasher, again, really handy when we're having those parties. One of the things that we also did when we designed the house was make it really energy efficient. So we've got about 32 solar panels on the roof, and with all of that kit, you need somewhere to store it. So this is also the plant room. So inside these cupboards, we've got everything that runs all of the solar panels and the electricity for the house. The house itself is actually really energy efficient. I mentioned earlier we've got the solar panels on the roof, and the heating downstairs is all underfloor heating. Works really well. That sort of low level background heat that just gives that nice warmth as you come in. Upstairs we've got radiators. One of the things that we were a little bit worried about in the summer with all of the glass is the property going to overheat? The great thing is with it being all nice and open plan downstairs is if we just open one of the sliding doors on that side and the sliding doors on the other side or in the bedroom upstairs, you actually get a lovely breeze just sort of coming through the house, and it keeps it nice and cool. We've been at the property for just over a year now, and we've managed to work out that our energy costs are pretty much zero, which is fantastic. So we sort of bank money with the energy supplier over the sunny summer months, and then we sort of use some of that over the winter. But yeah, it's going to work out that we really don't have any bills for running this house. So next to the utility room, we've also got a downstairs toilet, which you'd expect in a property like this. And what you might notice is the floor is different in here. So anywhere in the property where there's a door, we've done micro cement floor on the other side. So all of the open plan areas are Carndean herringbone, like a sort of antique oak effect. But yeah, anytime you open a door, you'll find a nice micro cement floor on the other side. So this is the second living room in the property. We very much use this as kind of a day living room. I mentioned earlier that the sun rises over on this side of the house. So in the morning you can kind of grab your coffee, sit on one of the sofas, watch the sun come up and kind of watch the world go by outside. It's lovely. From the living room, it leads into our second dining area, and we use this really very much as a breakfast area really, or for sort of casual dining. You know, if we're just sort of cooking, if it's just myself and Guy at the kitchen island, we might grab a seat here in the evening. We've got some lovely fixed glazing. There's a little pond that you probably can't quite see just down here. And then, yeah, nice sliding doors on both ends in the kitchen and in the living room, so we can open those out and head out into the garden. So what inspired the design of this part of the house was actually the new build that we lived in Yoxall, just down the road. When we were there, we had a much smaller scale version of this, but we had the sort of kitchen, dining area, living area. It was more of just a breakfast bar that we actually had. We had one of these tables. These are actually 2 tables, and we had those same sofas, but they were face to face with a mirror and some of the plants. So we took photos of that to the architect and said, look, we basically want to create something really similar to this, but obviously on a much bigger scale. And this is what they designed. So you can see we've got this, lovely big kitchen area, flows straight through into the dining area and into that lovely day living room at the end, where you can just chill out or just wander out into the garden whenever you feel like it. Welcome to the kitchen, the most important room in the house. And in here, you'll probably notice we've got loads of different textures, finishes. One of the things that we really like is the quartz worktop. We went for a sort of waterfall edge on that, so it goes all the way down, all the way over. On this, we've got the induction hob. First time that I'd used induction, always had gas before, so I was a little bit skeptical about it, but it's actually amazing. And we've got the extraction that sucks all of the food smells down and sort of filters all of that out. Behind me here, we've got microwave, which is also an oven with a warming drawer underneath, so you can get all your plates warm and keep your food warm if you want to. And then a nice slide and hide, which I saw in the bake-off, which I was pleased when I got one of these as well. So yeah, we've got a nice slide and hide oven. We've got a fridge, freezer, and then loads of storage. One of the things that we did with the sort of battened wall behind there is we built a stud wall and then we clad it in all of in the battening here, so it actually looks like these units are kind of sunk into the wall, so they're not sticking out into the room. Underneath the kitchen island, we've got loads of drawer space, these big deep drawers where you can fit all of your plates, your saucepans, absolutely everything you could possibly need. Then heading over to the sink area, we've got a cooker tap, so instant boiling water whenever you need it. Two nice big sinks. We've got the bin storage in here and then a dishwasher as well. And like I mentioned earlier, we've got that second dishwasher in the utility. So when we do have lots of people over or it's a bit of a party, we can always cater for all of the guests. Outside, the plot itself extends to just over an acre, and we are quite high up on a hill here, and you can literally see for miles around here. Right over there in the distance, we've got a TV mast on top of the hill, and that's actually Tamworth. It's probably about 8 miles away, so really far-reaching views. It's pretty spectacular. There are lots of agricultural buildings in the area, and I think we were one of the first ones to sort of develop one of those steel frame barns into houses, but what we're starting to see a lot more of in the local area, just down the road in a village called Abbots Bromley, lots more of these popping up, and what people are actually realising is a nice big airy steel frame barn can be divided up into something that forms a pretty amazing house. So one of the things you'll notice all around the property are these really deep reveals. So we've got them on the sliding doors, the fixed windows, the same upstairs, and this is due to the way that the building was actually built. So I mentioned earlier that it was a portal frame steel construction. What you've got on the outside is the timber and also the metal cladding. That is all essentially just decorative. It's not part of the thermally performing element of the building. And then inside that, in here, is the timber frame SIPS house. In between that is a gap. So if we were to take all of this cladding off, you'd actually be able to walk through the gap all the way around the building between the skin on the outside and the part that we live in. The two things are not connected other than just by the cladding to sort of to bridge that gap and close it. One of the other things that's really cool with a house like this is how quick it is to build when you eventually get started. The building itself arrived on the back of 2 articulated lorries, and then they unload these absolutely enormous wall sections and literally just stand them up. And within about half a day, most of your downstairs area, your external walls, your internal walls are there, and you can walk around what's going to be the downstairs of your house, which is pretty cool. Takes them a while to kind of get all of that sorted, then they move on to upstairs, but by the time we actually started this project building, it only took 9 months to build the whole house and to finish it. So that's it for downstairs. Come with me and I'll show you around the upstairs spaces. Before we head upstairs, the other thing that you'll notice is this staircase, and this is one of the big design features. We looked at lots of different options for this as well, with, you know, maybe a staircase in the middle that's sort of split, but this is the design that we went for in the end. With the design of the staircase, this is absolutely one of the things that we Pinterested the hell out of. I don't know if that's a word, but it is now. And we looked at metal designs, glass designs, and yeah, we kind of played around with lots of different options. In the end, we went for something which is almost completely oak apart from the spindles here. What they've done is this lovely black stain on the stringer. It looks absolutely amazing, and in certain light conditions the grain really shows up, so when the sun catches it, we're really happy with how that's turned out. We've got the nice open treads, so you can kind of see through it. So from the road, when you're looking in through the big windows at the front, you can kind of see through the staircase a little bit, and it kind of hints at what might be hidden behind. So one of the things we absolutely love about the barn is all of this double height space, and it enables us to have things like the amazing stick chandelier that we've got behind us. But when we were designing it, one of the things that you really have to think about when you go for this type of design is essentially all of this is now wasted space. So what we talked about with the architect are things like you could have pulled the back wall all the way forwards. This could have all been floor space, so we could have had extra rooms, but actually in the end what we opted for was that nice airy open entrance space. So when you walk through the door downstairs, it opens up into this huge entrance hall, nearly 7 meters tall, like I said earlier. So yeah, it's really impressive, really nice, really inviting when you come in. So this is the master bedroom. In here, you've got a lovely big Super King bed. We've actually put air conditioning in this room as well, because on those hot evenings, it's nice obviously to be able to open the doors to the balcony, but actually you can just pop the air conditioning on for a bit and make it nice and cool. One of the other things we've got is the TV on the wall at the end here. This was actually a design feature that we were keen to have. One of the things we tried to reduce when we were designing the property was the number of doors that we had, because obviously the more doors you have, they're actually quite expensive. It's not just about buying the door, it's also about all of the architrave that goes around it, the person that's got to fit it, and those costs pretty quickly build up. So what we opted for here was a stud wall instead that the TV can go on, and then you can just walk around both sides of the wall there. That then hides the dressing room that you've got behind it and the ensuite, so you're not kind of looking at all your clothes hanging up in the dressing room. So one of the things I really like upstairs is that we've gone for these angled ceilings, and what I think that it really does is create some interesting lines in what is essentially a new build house. Sometimes when you go into new build properties, all you see is right angles absolutely everywhere. Both upstairs and downstairs, what we had to think about was the ceiling heights downstairs and the floor heights up here. What we didn't want to do with a pitched roof is pinch that corner so that you then can't fit furniture in, or it feels like it's low upstairs. And then also downstairs, when we were down in the kitchen, as you saw earlier, that room's actually 13.5 meters long. So what can happen if you make the ceiling just a little bit too low is you really start to get that tunnel effect, and it feels like you're basically standing in a tunnel rather than a nice room. So we played around with that, and we really pushed the ceiling height as much as we could to make it feel like a nice space, even though it's really long, without impeding the height upstairs for things like wardrobes and furniture. So this is a lovely big ensuite bathroom, and this is literally a carbon copy of something that I saw on Pinterest. So as soon as you say you're building a house, the first thing you do obviously is start looking at bathrooms and kitchens rather than how you're actually going to build the house. So yeah, we saw a lovely bathroom that we liked on Pinterest, gave it to the architect and said, I want this one please. So thank you to the person who designed that picture that I saw on Pinterest. What you'll notice behind me as well is we've actually got 2 showers. So the thing that we really liked is just the shower screen, gap in the middle, and then 2 nice decent showers. That means in the morning obviously you're not arguing over who gets to use the bathroom first, and we've got the 2 sinks as well, obviously. So when you're building a house, one of the really stressful things is you're constantly being asked to make decisions. It's like decide on this, decide on that. One of those things was bathroom tiles. So what we went for was a type of tile that we liked, and then I just said, right, I'll have that tile in that colour, that colour, that colour, that colour. So we've got the same tiles in every bathroom, but just in a slightly different shade. One of the other things that we did as well in the bathrooms is we've got no frosted glass anywhere. We have got blinds that you can pull down if you do want privacy, but one of the benefits to kind of living in the countryside, we're not overlooked by anybody. So it's nice, you can actually sit on the toilet in the morning and look out of a nice clear window down the garden and enjoy the view. So you've seen the master bedroom, and this is bedroom 2. So in here, we've also got a lovely big Super King bed. You've got wardrobes and a nice desk area, and we've got a lovely ensuite bathroom in here, which is very similar to the one that you saw in the master suite, with everything that you'd expect. From here in the rest of the house, it extends to 5 bedrooms in total. 3 of those come with ensuite bathrooms, and 2 of them share a lovely big family bathroom, which I'll show you in just a second. So this is the family bathroom. Really nice, big space. We've got a nice big double shower tray in here. Obviously the toilet, the sink, but the thing that we like the most is this lovely double end slipper bath. Our friend Ian down the road, who works in the bathroom industry, got us a really good deal on this bath. I think we actually only paid about £300 for it. Thanks, Ian. A couple of interesting points just to mention upstairs. One of the things that we've got are actually these little eyelets in the ceiling that attach into the roof rafters. We've got those so that we can actually hang things from there. So at Christmas, you can hang nice big decorations or even a tree in the void here, which would look really cool. We haven't done it yet, but it's definitely in the plan. The other thing that was in the original design that changed was it was originally designed as a 6-bedroom house, but we said to ourselves, look, that's going to be way more than we're ever going to require. But one of the things we do need to think about is storage, like we talked about in the utility earlier. So we've had a absolutely massive cupboard built at the top of the stairs, we say. It's actually on the landing. But yeah, 2 nice big double doors and loads of storage space, which is absolutely great in a house like this. Thanks Home Inspire for coming to see Larchwood Barn. It's been a pleasure showing you around. Bye.